Hi, my name is Barbara Jennings with eXp Realty.
And I'm Doug Jennings.
And we are the Jennings team, and this is our YouTube channel where we talk about everything that there is to know about real estate, the good, the bad, the ugly, the pros and cons of all kinds of different things and driving tours to top it off. But in today's video, we're going to educate you guys on what is the deed of trust and what you can do to protect yourself when you go to sell your property. And first of all, we're going to explain what is a deed of trust. That's first and foremost. We want to unpack some of the terminology that we'll be using
today. Not every state has a deed of trust.
But in Virginia here, we do.
We do. And we are a deed of trust state where you sign a deed, you get a deed at settlement, and you get a deed of trust. Deed of trust is a encumbrance or a lien like on the property that protects the lender, for the note that you signed. So in two situations here, we'll share with you. After 35 years in the business, I mean, it was just amazing what we come up with and we're faced with. On the first transaction was where the title work was done. This is usually done a couple weeks before you go to settlement. The title company does the title work. Some do it 30 days, some do it 2 weeks.
It just depends on the title
company.
They
do this when everything's ready to go, loan's done, everything's ready to settle. So this particular case, when they did the title work, there were two, not one, two unrecorded deed of trust. What that means is these trusts were still recorded, against the property, even though this particular seller had paid this loan off. She never refinanced. She paid this loan off. And this certificate of satisfaction, which I refer to, where they record, the lender signs it, pay it in full, notarized, title company takes it to the county, and it's recorded. So this particular case, even though the loan was paid off, there were two trusts that were still recorded and not released. Now, whose responsibility? Well, when this particular seller bought the property, their title company should have made sure that it was taken care of, and it wasn't. So this particular case, it created a lot of undue hardship. It came down to the point where we had to get the two title companies to work together and identify the other one, so as the original title company would say, hey, our fault, we're going to
overinsure
over top of this and make sure that everything's okay. The bottom line on it, put a lot of stress, made a couple deals fall apart on this particular property. We went ahead and made it to settlement, and fortunately, the title company that we used, should we say the name?
No, we're not going to say.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
great
just
company.
Say title company.
They followed up, and they finally got the release. Signed, sealed, delivered, and recorded at the courthouse, so that the buyer who bought this property from our seller would not have any future problems.
That they will have clear and marketable title, which is really important when you go to sell your property. These are things that you need to make sure that you've got clear and marketable title when you go to sell your property. So how to prevent that is one,
insurable and marketable title.
Yeah, very, very important. That's a lot of great information, Doug, that you've shared with us today.
You look at that and you think, well, there were two trusts on that property that were not released. And one was a builder trust that had, these people had
builder
bought.
Went out of business.
I mean, crazy stuff, but the title company reached out, solved the problem. It did create a lot of stress, anxiety, and undue worries for our seller.
And the buyer, because they were anxious and not fully understanding what all of this means. So that is why we created this video today, is to unpack what it really means when you do a refi, or, you know, you're saying, hey, I'm going to go sell my house, you know.
Yeah, so this particular...
It's just one of those things that when you're working with professionals like ourselves, that we're going to guide you and talk to you and run title search, so, you know, we don't have any issues 2 weeks before closing.
Yeah, you don't want to get into the deal and go into escrow, and and this deal has been happening, particularly in a declining market.
Yeah.
Where home prices are going down.
I mean, it could cost you tens of thousands of dollars, because now it's been, you know, under contract, and then it's 2 weeks later, and next thing you know, you put it back on the market. And
so what does this mean in a nutshell? What this means is that when the property is listed for sale, the agent can have a title search done, title policy ordered on the property.
Mm-hmm. Fairly inexpensive. To
make sure there's no liens like this or unrecorded trusts that hasn't been released. Not unrecorded, unreleased trust. Yeah. They're recorded. This is the big problem. They're recorded against the property. And a lot of these has happened with recent refinances where you have someone come to the house that gets you to sign the paperwork from an internet company used for a lender. They didn't follow up. They didn't cross-check and make sure all these things are done. So what do? You can list, when you list your property, you can go ahead and have the agent order a title search done on your property and make sure that your title is a good record. And approximately $150, $200. Yeah. What it costs you.
Give or take.
Yeah. Second deal. Tell them about the second deal.
So the second deal, we actually had to get our documentation from Puerto Rico, believe it or not, and they sent in an email what we needed. However, it was not notarized, and that was not good enough for the title company because they need to have that stamp notarized. So in Puerto Rico, if you don't know, if you ever encounter something like this, they have attorneys, and they're the only ones that notarize. And on top of it,
this is what we were told.
This is.
And they come in on Fridays once a week.
And that's it. So it needs to be notarized only by attorneys and only on Friday. And so
then it's got to be sent to U.S. Arrangements made to record it. Yep. Downtime.
Yeah. So, you know, at the end of the day, we knew it was coming, and we saw the tracking number that, you know, the attorney indeed did stamp it and notarized all that good stuff and sent it off. So we were able to close in a timely manner. But,
so the news on this one is that this recorded trust against the property that was never released, the bank that lent the money went out of business, closed up completely. Due to the title company, they were able to track down that Wells Fargo had taken over their assets, and it took weeks to finally get the certificate of satisfaction or the release signed, sealed, delivered, and recorded. So the bottom line is you usually don't run into this situation.
Yeah, but it's just one of those
But
little
when
things.
you run into two
back to back,
and you go through the anxiety and stress with the seller, and other deals are tied to it. I mean,
when we're working with you guys as sellers, and we're just emotionally as attached to your transaction as you are, because that's your home, and you're packing up, and you're moving, and you're relocating. And on one of the two deals, the buyer actually, their rate lock was about to expire, and they had to extend, and they didn't have any more money. So if the seller hadn't paid that on their behalf, so extra money out of the seller's pocket to take care of this deal so it didn't fall through the cracks. Again, just all these little things that come up that really cause undue stress. So get that title search on your property.
I'm sitting here thinking about these two deals. Yeah. And what was tied to these deals on the other end for the sellers. Yeah. They had no idea the bottom line on this is, no matter what should have been done or wasn't done, it kept our deals from going to closing.
Yeah.
And if we had known about this, right when we listed a property, we might say, well, why didn't you guys order the title work? Well,
it's not standard and common practice.
So we learn, we learn. So we offer to the sellers now, hey, here's our story. I would suggest go ahead and write a check, get your title work done up front, and make sure that there's no issues. And if there are, then we can work with the title companies to make sure that we can get insurable and marketable title, so there's no issues with the buy-in side. So that's our story.
That's right. So if that's you, if you're thinking about selling and you're looking for knowledgeable wisdom agents like ourselves that really just go above and beyond to make sure that we do everything possible to make your transaction smooth and stress-free as possible, because it is an emotional roller coaster and we totally understand. So we're Doug and Barbara Jennings. Make sure that you give us a call, you shoot us a text, you send us an email. Hey, just reach out days, nights, weekends. We got your back when you're looking to sell your house. And for more informational videos, go ahead and check out some of our other ones. So until we meet you in person,
Make it a great day.
see you later.